Well, good evening there. I think spring finally hit us. You can hear those cranes flying around out there, and there's geese around. The water's been running. It's warm now, and that's kind of good. I know there's a few people who've been fighting through calving this year. It's been a little bit cold in the beginning, and it sounds like there's a few problems going around, but it's getting time for a new part of the season. A little better weather, and just more things getting done. I'm out today putting up some fence here, fixing up a little bit, getting some stuff moved around for the next part of things. And this kind of weather gets me thinking of, when you're buried in that big, heavy part of calving, there's not much time for anything else other than calving. So when you finally get a chance to take yourself to town, you're looking forward to it. So this idea come from some of the experiences out there, 4 or 5 different guys in here, but this is all true stories, but it's built into one good story. So call this one A Night on the Town. Well, we'd reached the middle of April and calving was going good. The eagles were flying in the sky looking to scavenge what they could. We're coming up to the weekend that the indoor rodeo was in town, and all the boys in the bunkhouse thought that we might head on down to see if we could scrape up a dance. Yeah, we'd been pretty well behaved. Besides, we had to find some way to spend all that money we'd saved. So we cleaned up and we dressed up, and boy, were we feeling frisky. Old Bob said he wasn't going. Said just might be too risky. He said last time I went into town, I had a terrible night. I drank too much, I got turned down, and I ended up losing a fight. Well, we tried our best to persuade him. He just wouldn't give in, said he was going to watch some TV and probably just turn in. So we headed to our watering hole, and we'd been there a couple hours when in walked old Bob. But his face looks kind of sour. He says I was sitting there on the couch just as content as I could be when the cook sat down there real close, and she says, "It looks like it's you and me." So I hit the road to find you guys, because I'm not up for that. But he sat there in the corner booth just kind of hiding under his hat. Well, we were all just having a ball, taking our turns on the hardwood floor. We didn't notice Big Janie sit down, or old Bob make his escape out the door. In fact, we never did see him at all for the rest of the night on the town, and it was late afternoon, next day at the ranch, when old Bob come home with a frown. And he sure seemed awful quiet. He sure looked awful sorry. It took about another hour or more to get what's left of the story. He said, well, when Janie sat down beside me, I just wasn't feeling right. So I slid out and jumped in my truck and thought I'd try somewhere new for the night. I headed down to that other place where the light makes things glow in the dark. I had to walk in quite a ways, 'cause they ain't got nowhere to park. I was standing there in the corner when this arrogant little pie-eyed idiot slapped my wrist cuff, spilled my drink, and asked, "Hey, are you some kind of ninja?" And then his buddy come up beside him. He says, "No. Check out that big goofy hat and that polka dot rag he's got round his neck. Some Hutterite girl give him that. I'll bet he's one of them bush cowboys, and they just love those cows. It's time you headed back to the ranch, and we're going to show you how." And then they both made a jump and punched me, spilled what was left of my drink. I took a few swings to defend my honor. A few of them connected, I think. The cops were called. They hauled me away. And at the station, they couldn't understand why I had needles and a syringe in my pocket, or that prolapse needle stuck in my hatband. They kept me locked up for the whole night long. I wasn't even allowed to talk. And this morning, when they turned me loose, no ride offered. They made me walk all the way across town in my high-heel boots. That's a long ways back to my truck. Sometime last night, someone busted my mirror. But I guess that's just my luck. See, I never got to finish a single drink. All I got was this fat lip. I could have just stayed there on the couch and saved myself the trip. So next time you guys are going into town, I won't give it a second look. I'm going to sit right there on that couch, and I'll take my chances with the cook.